Chapter 24. New Horizons. A bright late summer sun gilded the shattered rooftops and broken high-rises, lending the city a warmth it hadn't felt in years. In the wake of the Watcher's victory against the meltdown illusions, people emerged from their hiding places with tentative smiles and cautious curiosity. The clash with fear, illusions, and the regime's dream weapon felt strangely distant now, though fresh scars marked nearly every street and mind. Selene walked atop a crumbling overpass that arched above the old industrial district. Worn asphalt crackled under her boots, and the wind teased her hair. Beside her strolled Ethan, gaze drifting over the shifting horizon. Where once savage illusions had prowled, only faint glimmers of color remained, gentle wraiths that shimmered in the corners of vision and vanished if approached. A reminder that illusions, now subdued, still lingered in the city's tapestry. Behind them marched a small procession, watchers, newly freed Dreamweavers, supporters who'd seen the regime's cruelty firsthand. Draven led them, posture tall but eyes subdued. Ava, leaning on her crutch, guided a group that included some of the detainees still unsteady on their feet. Victor lugged a portable rig, scanning for enforcer signals, though they'd detected minimal activity from the regime's forces in days. It seemed even the regime had paused to assess the Watcher's renewed unity and the meltdown illusion's transformation. Selene's parents walked near the center, quietly absorbing the city they'd known so long ago. Each time Selene caught sight of them, her heart ached with gratitude and the guilt that they had endured so much. Yet their eyes shone with a fragile hope. They were free, and illusions, once a terror, had become a shield. "Look," Ethan said softly, pointing down to the cracked lanes below. Groups of citizens were gathering in a courtyard outside a defunct municipal building, waving at the watchers overhead. Some wore homemade patches emblazoned with swirling colors, symbols of the watchers' stand against meltdown illusions. Children laughed as harmless illusions flitted like playful phantoms among them. It was a scene Selene never imagined. Illusions as an everyday wonder, not a source of fear. She swallowed a lump in her throat, thinking back to the meltdown's darkest days. Now the Watchers stood on the threshold of forging a genuine future. The Dream Council, she reminded herself. They'd planned to announce its formation publicly, inviting Dreamweavers and non-Dreamweavers alike to help shape a new code of ethics, one that would keep illusions from tyranny. If it succeeded, illusions would remain guardians, not nightmares. Ahead, Draven slowed at the apex of the overpass. Beside a gap in the concrete railing, he turned to face the group. Sunlight touched his silver-threaded hair, making him look older and wiser than the storms had left him. A hush fell over the procession. Even the city seemed to pause, as if holding its breath. Draven surveyed the watchers, detainees, and sympathetic faces. "We've travelled a bloody, tangled road," he began, voice carrying in the open air. "Together we tamed meltdown illusions. We freed Dreamweavers from sedation labs. We exposed the regime's assimilation horrors. It cost us dearly, people we lost, nights without rest, betrayals. But we stand here not broken but unbowed." His words resonated, stirring murmured assent. Ava stepped forward, resting on her crutch. "No meltdown illusions hunt us now, but we must remain vigilant. The regime still wields power. If we don't present a united front, if we let illusions revert to instruments of fear, this peace is only fleeting." Ethan raised his chin, scanning the crowd. "That's why we form the Dream Council. No single leader, no single faction, but a collective voice. A place where watchers, Dreamweavers, and any citizen can ensure illusions are guided by conscience, not oppression." A stirring in the crowd signaled approval, a wave of cautious but genuine applause. Selene felt her heart hammer, an almost surreal lightness at the idea that she, once a frightened girl fleeing illusions, would help forge such a future. She found her parents at the edge of the circle, tears glistening. A soft smile touched her lips. Draven inclined his head toward Selene. For too long illusions were twisted by fear or stolen by tyranny, but Selene showed us illusions can protect and heal. We invite her, Ava, and others who shaped the meltdown's end, to anchor the Council's first steps. A flush of nerves warmed Selene's cheeks. She felt every eye land on her, Dreamweavers once lost to sedation, watchers who'd bled for each victory, citizens newly awakened to illusion's wonders. But in each gaze she also felt acceptance, support. She swallowed and stepped forward. Clearing her throat, she spoke, voice trembling at first. Illusions nearly destroyed this city when the meltdown shattered boundaries. But illusions also saved us, helped us shield each other, free detainees, unify. Our dream realm doesn't belong to a government lab or the meltdown's chaos. It belongs to us all, a reflection of our shared hopes and scars. She paused, letting emotion ripple. This council will be a place of checks and balances, a living vow that illusions won't become weapons again. We vow not to impose forced sedation or assimilation, but to guide illusions so they serve creativity, healing, and justice. A hush deeper than silence followed. Then applause rose, unsure at first, building into a heartfelt chorus. The watchers and detainees, joined by new allies who'd approached from below the overpass, clapped and cheered, some raising fists in solidarity. The sun beamed down, scattering golden warmth across the battered assembly. From the corner of her eye, Selene glimpsed Lyle, arms folded. His expression softened, a grudging respect perhaps. She remembered the suspicions about a traitor, her heart pounding with old wariness. But in this moment, no rancor showed on his face, only thoughtful acceptance. Possibly the traitor had vanished, or perhaps the threat had been overshadowed by illusion's revival. She breathed a sigh of cautious relief, though the question remained unasked. By afternoon, the Watchers and Dreamweavers descended the overpass to mingle with citizens. Illusions drifted overhead, bright as daydreams. A handful of Watchers in battered gear formed small committees, scribbling notes about how to formalize council membership, how to hold illusions in check. Draven, Ava, and Ethan circled among them, bridging differences with calm resolve. Selene found a moment of peace near the courtyard's edge, leaning against a charred lamp-post. She watched her parents speak softly with a cluster of ex-detainees, exchanging stories of sedation and the mental knots they would untangle. People laughed too, voices carrying relief. The meltdown illusions cast swirling rainbows across broken pavement. A hint of tears pricked Selene's eyes, tears of gratitude. She felt more than saw Ethan appear at her side, exhaling a contented breath. "Look at them," he said, gesturing to the crowd. "A month ago, illusions were monstrous horrors. Now they paint the sky in color and people actually smile." Selene's chest stirred with warmth. "I never dared dream illusions could be so gentle," she smiled. "But we made it happen." Her gaze swept over the city's battered skyline, still showing scars but lit with an undeniable brightness. Ethan wrapped an arm around her shoulders, voice quiet. "We have a lot to rebuild. The regime, the traitor, dormant assimilation labs. There's plenty left undone. But at least illusions aren't devouring us from within anymore." A gentle breeze stirred the illusions overhead, carrying faint echoes of music or laughter, impossible to say if real or dream. Selene closed her eyes, letting the sense of unity wash over her. In the distance, Watchers guided newly freed Dreamweavers to safer housing. Some planned to travel beyond the city, spreading word of illusion's liberation. Others would remain, forging the Dream Council's foundation. Her parents waved, beckoning her over. She left Ethan's side briefly to join them. They embraced her, tears unspoken, hearts bridged after years apart. She promised again to help them reclaim their lost time, even as they pledged to stand with the Watchers to ensure no one else suffered assimilation. Hope thrummed between them. At dusk, the Watchers convened one final time. Under the newly formed Dream Council's banner, a swirl of bright shapes embroidered by a citizen in gratitude, they declared illusions a shared heritage, not a tool of tyranny. The meltdown illusions that had once terrorized the city now traced gentle patterns across the twilight sky, drifting in arcs of starlight glimmer. Applause and tears wove through the assembly, the night air warm with possibility. Standing before the crowd, Selene inhaled the mix of city grit and sweet hope. She glimpsed Ava's relieved smile, Draven's proud stance, Ethan's unwavering devotion. Her parents, newly awakened, looked at her with quiet awe. The Watchers had borne so much suffering, lost so many illusions to fear. Now they stepped into a future shaped by unity, empathy, and a dream realm freed from Meltdown's chains. She raised her hand, illusion sparking at her fingertips, calm, radiant, not savage or random. The Watchers echoed her gesture, merging illusions into a shimmering collective tapestry overhead. Gasps of wonder rose. The city glowed in that moment, as though the heartbreak once fueling illusions had burned away, leaving only promise. In that luminous hush, a new horizon unfurled, dreams reclaimed, a city reborn. Selene felt a final pang of sorrow for all they'd lost, but also a surge of faith in what they might yet create. She lowered her hand, tears slipping free as she breathed in the fresh air. Yes, dawn had come at last, embracing them in warmth. The Watchers, broken, mended, unstoppable, stood at the threshold of a future that shimmered with color beyond any meltdown or assimilation's reach. And in the sky above, illusions danced like living constellations, painting the city in hope's gentle glow.